100.
मैडम ने ज्वाइन करा समूह?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, madam has joined. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Madam, we can start now. Madam has also joined.
Yes. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, madam, please.
Good afternoon to all. We, Professor Dr. P.N. Metange, and Professor Vaishali Khandwe, Assistant Professor. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Computer Engineering Department for the online expert session on current industry trends in AI or ML, career opportunities in data science AI for students and IBM University. Organized by Computer Engineering Department, MIT's Institute of Engineering, Bhujbal Knowledge City, Nasik. We would like to extend a special welcome to today's speaker, Mr. Anil Omanwar, IBM, Australia, Honorable Dr. Shefali Bhujbal Ma'am, Mentor, MET BKC, who will be addressing us. I also welcome Dr. VP Wani, Principal Institute of Engineering, Professor R.S. Narkhede, Principal Institute of Technology Polytechnic, Professor Dr. S.V. Gumaste, HOD IT, Professor Dr. M.U. Kharat, HOD Computer, faculty members and participants. I hope that you all enjoy the today's expert session. Thank you again, everyone, for being. Let's begin the event with glimpses of MIT Bhujbal Knowledge City. Madam, video, please. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call Mrs. Vaishali Khandwe to introduce our today's guest.
Thank you, ma'am. So today we are having an expert, Anil Omanwar sir. Now, Anil Omanwar sir is AI expert in IBM Experts Lab, Australia. He is a computer engineer developing and delivering cognitive AI-enabled platforms and solutions for businesses from 15 years. His job involves understanding and formulating the business problem for a client and subsequently working on a proof of concept or complete solution utilizing the AI and NLP techniques, cognitive services, cloud hosting, hybrid application framework, etc. Anil sir applies artificial intelligence technologies to automated critical manual process, assisting domain experts to optimize human machine capabilities. He is master inventor and chair of the invention development team for evaluating cutting edge and valued patents for IBM. He holds more than 10 patents on device intelligence, AI systems, and core NLP technologies. So, on behalf of Department of Computer Engineering, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm welcome.
Yes. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, our mentor, Honorable Dr. Shefali Bhujbal ma'am, will felicitate today's speaker, Mr. Anil Omanwar sir. Ma'am, please. So we are offering an online Tulsi plant to Omanwar sir. Please accept.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, Anil.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
So, yeah, and we don't get an Indian Tulsi here. So probably that's one of the best movement I got.
Yeah. In your next visit to India, please do come to our campus. We are eagerly waiting for you. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. It looks like very big campus and lots of students I can see from that clip. So yeah, must be fun.
Yes, please.
Now I request Honorable Dr. Shefali Bhujbal ma'am to address the August gathering.
Thank you, madam. Yeah, thank you. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the platform of MED Bhujbal Knowledge City. We are eager to hear you. In fact, all the students or the people who have joined, they are very much eager to hear you. In this regard, I will talk about something about MET. MET we started 33 years back at Mumbai. And we have a backbone support of MET Mumbai. And then we expanded our horizon to Nasik. This is Adgaon campus, which you had a look at it, the presentation which was shown. Then there is another campus at Nasik, which we started in 2016. So that is for architecture and design. Here at Adgaon, we are 40 acres of campus, and at architecture, that is just 13, 14 kilometers away from here, it is 23 acres of land. So now coming back to the session and coming back to the introduction about MET, we have nearly 5,000 to 6,000 students at the campus only at Adgaon. And here we have streams like engineering, pharmacy, then 11th and 12th graders, and Polytechnic, MBA, PharmD. And we are actually expanding vertically regarding the fields of work which we are into, like PharmD, then 2 DPharm courses, then BTech. Initially, we have taken from another university apart from our home university, that is Pune University. So the extension and the expansion which we are doing is only to have a niche in various subjects and cultivation of this inclination about these like artificial intelligence, machine learning, which we only gather information through Google. And we are only having, only some few knowledge here and there. and augmented reality, which we mustn't have seen it, but we can see it through some websites. So this is in the machine learning, and these sort of things are in, and this has to be inculcated to the faculties also as well as to the students. So now the next generation, which we are talking about, the age group of 10 to 30, they are always on mobile. They are always on, making apps. So this is reality, and this is not far. Like
Yes.
nowadays, when we are
Totally agree.
talking about, we are talking about books handling, but everything is on audio books. Whatever we require, it is only on that small screen. So I can understand that we have to change. We have to bring the old school thoughts, but of course, yes, weaving with the technology, which we have to go ahead. And here in our campus, we have the computer IT, and we have extended another 60 seats of artificial intelligence, and another BTech, which is another 30 seats. So I'm very much sure that the eminent personalities like you are here on the platform from far off the country, and you're actually guiding our students. So we welcome you, sir, and we require your knowledge. We require your physical appearance in our campus whenever it is possible, and any guidance to be given. Our faculties are always there for the students, but people like you, we require much more, so that we can also upgrade our technological moods and technological studies. So we welcome you, sir, and we are very much happy. Like Dr. Kharat and the team of engineering and the computer and IT department have taken you as a person on this platform. Thank you, and I welcome you again, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am, for that brief description. Actually, you set up a very good platform for the topic which I will be starting. So yeah, and I strongly agree with these things. Like nowadays, technology is not too far, and like in this driverless car and few other things are
Yes.
just like on the corner. And literally, like where I'm sitting, we have a driverless car which is like in the demo mode, or you can say it's a pilot mode. So it's just around the corner. So the future, what you said, it's not that far. We are very near to it. Like the augmented reality, robotics, automation, and all those things are like very near to us. And yeah, and about that personal visit, probably like when Australia opens the border, we will be the first to jump out
Definitely.
of Australia and come back to India and visit our friends and family. Because I think I've been here from 2.5 years. Like we are eagerly waiting to come back to India.
Welcome, sir. And thanks a lot once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
madam. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our speaker, Mr. Anil Omanwar, to deliver today's expert session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I'll share my screen, so bear with me for a second. So, are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So, talking about today's topic, I'll be taking you through, the technology, or what are current trends in AI and ML going through now, the industry. I'll try to introduce you to AI world from my perspective. I think many of you already in that world, but I'll try to take your to AI world from my view. I'll try to touch some of the points or which may be useful, which is IBM University or IBM University Initiative or connection is doing for the students worldwide. Then I try to touch some of the resources which are useful for the student. And then, but before that, I'll start with my introduction. And most of you already got my introduction. And thank you, madam, for that detailed introduction. So yeah, like Madam said, like, and yeah, I'm very much passionate about the patents and this patenting area. So I try to see, like, if there is an opportunity, I try to see if I can get patent publication, something out of it. Also, like, I love to be part of hackathons. I also am like being a technical reviewer or writer for some of the books. And again, like, I like to discuss all those things. Like in IBM also we have mentor-mentee programs. So I try to engage with the mentees to actually share my knowledge, and this is what, like, in one of the same thing. So, and based on that, many people usually ask me, like, what you do, or what, like, in data scientist, AI expert, or someone who is doing in this field, how he behaves or what is his day-to-day job. So that's why, like, I try to incorporate that into a small slides. So I'll take you through that. So usually, like, in people like me, or like in people, I just gather this information from we call this like a peer who are working in similar role. So how we do, or what are the typical roles and responsibility, like in weekly or monthly, if you see, or yearly basis. So usually our whole thing started with the big business, like so mostly the people who are attached to this field also are starting to understand a problem, domain, data, or they speak with the end user. Like, I'm in customer facing, so I have to meet my customers, understand their problem, and like they have different requirements, different condition constraint, like in data constraint. They have certain, like, in geography constraint, that this data cannot go beyond this country or beyond this geography. So we need to understand all those things, because that's the business behavior. So I have worked on, like, in 10-15 different domain, like in you can consider banking, oil and gas, healthcare, where I have worked with like in cancer research firm. So we work with various domain, and what we do usually when we go to the new domain, we try to understand that domain, learn that domain, meet experts in that domain. And that's the basic thing which many of the people who are into this data science or into this field try to understand first the domain or the business which they are working for. And that's usually, like, it works very well, because if you understood your domain, you can actually start applying your technology techniques to that domain. So then let's say we got a problem, we understood that problem. Now we want to find out the solution for that problem. And that's where one of the most important factor comes in, or one of the most important phase of our life comes in, which is think, which is like when we get some problem, we start thinking of possible solution. We see, okay, is there something which is readily available? Can we use that, and can we enhance that particular solution? If something is not available, or something is not easily available, or something which is related to more than one domain, then probably we do a brainstorming session with other experts. Like in a banking or in a security, we take help of other like an analyst or other people or domain expert, and we brainstorm. We try to bounce the idea with each other and see which one will work. Sometimes we didn't get anything which is readily available. Even in the brainstorming session, we didn't find something, or we found something which is not available to this date. And that's where when, or we stuck at a point where we found like there is nothing, and that's where people start thinking outside that particular box, or which is like in whatever given solution, we start thinking outside it. And that's most of the time, many people who get patent is that phase where they have a problem, they know that there is no existing solution available, and if they push themselves slightly harder, they will get something which is a good solution, and they will try to find a patent. Most of my patents idea, or people I know, their patents idea is usually coming from these situations. So when we get, let's say we found out the problem, we identify, okay, that's the solution, then we try to build that solution. And that's where all this technology comes in a picture, which I'll be probably talking you to the subsequent slides. like which programming language we have to pick, which framework we have to pick, which algorithm we have to pick, what type of, how that algorithm can help me, what will be the front end, what will be the back end, can I use cloud, and all those things comes in a picture at this stage when we want to build a solution. Like nowadays, Python and R is most commonly used tools, or I can say platform or programming language, or that is most commonly used, and like in TensorFlow, PyTorch, all those things are like in a first choice usually for the people who are actually building in deep learning, or there's like scikit-learn or other framework or machine learning framework, I can say these people have is used. When people think of, okay, that we need to build this solution on a cloud, they prefer one of the like in leading cloud, like in Google, IBM, AWS, Azure, and then probably they will say, okay, can I host the same code or probably my model, or which is my machine learning thing, into specific cloud? And that's where probably the people from the different like, domain or expertise, they comes in a picture, and then they host that particular thing on a cloud. If I talk about like these two are my favorite natural language processing toolkits. They are Python based, and I have used them extensively. So probably who don't know, or probably we can have the discussion about those couple of libraries in any upcoming sessions. So that's where we build a solution. And then probably the important part, which is in the life of this domain, like an ML experts or AI expert, is basically to present their solution, to present their idea, to present their problem, to present their solution, or present and win your customers. Or basically they have to present what they found out, what is the problem, how they solve that problem. And that's where one of the most important skill which we see, or which we need to be interesting application, which we call like in one of the like an must watch or must have eye on that application from an IBM side. And while I was discussing about my patents, I'll show you one of the patented idea, which was based on machine learning and natural language processing. And I'll end up with something which is like in one solution where I was like involved in the evaluation and other stuff. So I'll start with a small video. That video will give you a generic idea like how IBM or companies like IBM helps businesses to in using AI, like where usually like an AI has been used or AI can be used, and how it will change the definition or the customer behavior from that domain. So there is like a 1 minute video, and probably I'll just brief after the video.
With AI, every business challenge can become an opportunity to explore, to automate, to understand, to predict. Organizations that scale AI throughout their businesses are extending and amplifying human expertise and driving more confident action. Across industries, AI, such as IBM Watson technology, is radically transforming the way organizations work by helping predict and shape future outcomes, empowering people to do higher value work, automating decisions, processes, and experiences, and ultimately reimagining new business models that are trusted, transparent, and deployable just about anywhere. AI is helping create relationships in which customers across virtually every channel and touchpoint feel they are understood and valued. It's helping create environments where workers across the business feel empowered, with AI guidance helping them answer questions faster and with greater certainty, turning challenges into solutions that drive even greater success. Infusing AI throughout your organization can help you take on today's most difficult problems. Where you take AI from there is up to you.
Yeah. So about that video, so that just gives an some glimpse of where that AI has been used, how it can help to an end customer, or like can change the behavior, get success, and all those things. So they have touch base lots of use cases, and I'll try to just show you the top use cases which like currently an industry is working on because of this COVID and like in distancing and all other things. There are few things which has emerged like in last 2-3 years. One is like in chatbots. So chatbots is basically like in there is an assistant for specific company or specific services. You just go, you start talking to it, it will try to respond. Like very easiest example is Alexa. So you ask something and Alexa will try to answer it in the best possible way. So because of this COVID, large organizations started adopting this chatbot and deployed it. Like people like me or my colleagues or people I know, they started lots working on these chatbots. And excuse me. So I will not speak more about the chatbots, and I'll cover that in one of the videos in the same on same section. Another important thing which probably this COVID has started is like an uh, a, a prediction or something which is like in management or like in predictive maintenance or something which is a prediction or command center. Like people started building command center and see how much time particular thing is, like how many bed my hospital has, how many new people I can accommodate. And there are lots of things which are related to hospital management, or like an IBM has helped recently. I'm like in this 2 year to lot many healthcare related uh, firms to actually help them or ease their business or with their business model. Another interesting thing which is like evolved, or that's one of the trending, is like in sentiment analysis or understanding what your customer are saying about your product. So we call that as like in voice of customer analysis. Sentiment analysis is one part of it, but understanding what your customer are saying. Are they saying positive, negative about something? And if they are saying negative, then what aspect they are not happy? Can I address that aspect? And lot many things going into that domain. Like I said, like and there are autonomous vehicles, like in driverless car is the what coming, and teams who are working, they are working in like in smart image analysis, or like one of the part of autonomous vehicle is to understand like utilize your sensors and understand what is happening around you. Like there are 3 people coming in front of you, or all those things. So that's where like in machine learning or deep learning is helping to analyze those images and figure out, okay, what's the distance between my car and the person who is approaching me? Is it coming fast? And that's like an your video analysis, action analysis, all those things are getting popular or are getting into and demand. So one of the other thing which I recently worked, or the thing which I working with my customer, is a predictive maintenance. So where I work with a large oil and gas firm, and that firm has like in lots of refineries, or like in natural gas extraction sites or factories, and how they actually do their maintenance, or how they actually maintain their sites in such a way that they are getting maximum production. So there are lots of factors, like, and there is a cyclone, or there is a harsh weather, there are less people available, or there are certain rules that 2 people can't work within that certain dimension, or this facility can accommodate only, let's say, 20% of the people now. With this change scenario, how they want to manage, or how they can get the best out of it. So that's one of the story which I will be showing, and then I'll discuss more about that story. Sorry, looks like I got disconnected the session, so I'm just reloading it. So so while I was talking about that particular use case, that use case is
I know you, friend. I know every meter, every gap, every specification. I know every metric unit of pressure imposed on your 119,000 ton frame and how it will react to the extreme conditions here on the remote northwest shelf. I know what a team of engineers in Norway reported on you and what a retired project manager documented on you a decade ago. I know fuel mixtures and flow rates, hard data and soft data. I know all this because we're designing a cognitive system with IBM Watson that consumes and learns everything written or reported about you from millions of files, decision logs, and technical evaluations spread across our company. We teach Watson to think like an engineer. Watson teaches us to think like 1,000 engineers from 1,000 different sources. I know temperatures and pressure gradients, anomalies and patterns. When you succeed, I will know why. I will know how. With Watson, we're asking more questions because we have more answers. We're making smarter decisions because we learn more every time we make one. And I know we're just getting started.
So that was about that one of the success story that I was talking about, and this particular thing has like if you have heard the engineer or the project manager or the person who was translating or narrating us the situation, he said when he passed or when he succeeded, he now knows why he succeeded and how he succeeded. If he failed, he knows where I failed, how can I improve. And another thing, probably if you have missed, one of the important thing he missed, like when he took a decision, they are learning from that decision. And that's where this machine learning and all other things comes in a picture. So when they took a decision, based on the impact of the decision, the underlying system has learned something about it. Okay, that decision has gone wrong or right. If it has gone wrong, why it has gone wrong? Can I correct that? Can I improve that? If it has gone successful, okay, can I add that as a best practice? Can other people follow that? So that's where all those things comes when we do everyday business, and that's how these systems are growing every day. They are learning from each action taken. It has huge amount of data which is gathered from different sources, and like he said, they teach the Watson to think like an engineer, and Watson learns all those things from different sources and show them how to think like 1,000 engineers. And that's where one of the best thing which I have involved, and that's why I like this field, where you learn from your mistake and you embrace your success. So I'll take you. So usually what we do, like when we have like in face-to-face meetings or like in a workshop, we try to give some like in handouts. These handouts are like, and I'm just trying to give you a feel of an text mining experiment. It is just one slice or one bit of this whole engagement, how this whole engagement has worked, or it's just one natural language processing or text mining experiment that I'll try to show you so that you can understand how from a single document or from source of document, Watson-like system understand and improves the oral output. So I'll just show you one of the incident, which is usually like a document or like a PDF is ingested into a system that has like a whole details, like, okay, there was an incident happened, something has fell down from the top and from the height, and something got wrong. So what went wrong? They have details of it. What immediate action that they have taken, like, okay, something fall from the height, then okay, they have taken to an immediate action, or they stopped the work, they have taken the particular person to aside, gave them first aid, and all those things. So all those things are captured. So what we do as like a natural language processing people, we try to understand those inputs and see if we can extract. That's we called as like an entity extraction or named entity extraction or domain terminology extraction. So if you see the initial document which was presented to us has been translated into a different color. I just gave the different color for the sake of understanding, but basically these are the different categories. So pipe rack is one of the equipment, mechanical is a type of equipment, XYZ height or XYZ weight, and like an unsafe work practice, it's one of the golden safety rules, or violation of one of the golden safety rules. All those things, like we write, so we create dictionaries, we create lots of rules, we create like a machine learning model to understand all those things and understand what it is saying. So another thing which I can easily correlate this with, so when you give certain instruction to Alexa or any chatbot, it also tries to understand what is your intent, what you're trying to say to it. So for example, Alexa, can you turn on the lights? So turn on is basically an action. Lights is basically object, or it's basically like we can say an asset or equipment that it need to work. And then probably Alexa will try to find out, okay, I found one light and it is currently switched off. I am trying to switch on, or I'm taking action on it, or do you want me to turn on all the lights? So there are different rules which will be playing on top of it. But this phase where we get the raw English words or English sentences, and then we try to identify what's important into it. Okay, that's the second step. What we do next, when we get this, we call as a pre-processing step. And in the analysis space, this is one of the interesting technique, like we call that as bow tie analysis, or that's commonly known as bow tie analysis, where we try to understand what are the causes of that event, what are the controls in place, and what are the another types. Okay, this is the activity of lifting, and there is equipment like an malfunctioning of a man lift, or there are certain things which has happened. And the bow tie analysis says, like, working at a high potential event, there is some event which has happened which is on and high. So imagine these are the inputs which we get from a different sources, and I just gave you in only one processing of it. Now based on all those things, now this particular machine or an Watson or like a system like this are in a position to understand or to control. So for example, going back to the same thing, like I want to understand the other incident which are happened at the height, and probably like it just picking up this node and find out another attached nodes with this, and we can able to identify many things, and we can put lots of filters, we can put lots of analysis on top of it. But this is like one of the core NLP thing which we do. And so we call that as like in converting an unstructured data to a structured data. And that's one of the important thing. When we get unstructured data, it gets used in many ways. So this was one of the exercise, or usually we take that exercise with the like an final year students or like an initial NLP developers, so that they can understand how it works. So, and the system which I have shown in the video, this is just one part of it. There are lots of other things which are running on top of it, and probably I'll try to cover some other aspect into and different slides. So moving to our next slide or next topic, which is another like a project which is like people who are good in or who are like interested in NLP domain, they are watching out for this particular project, or this is called as a project debater. So debater is basically like an arguing with something or arguing with someone and trying to convince each other ideas or bounce back the ideas or trying to convince that your point is more valid than him. So now consider that requires lots of things, like if someone is talking to someone, then what he's talking about. Is he crossing your point, or he has created an entirely new aspect of the particular thing? We can take an example. For example, if someone is trying to like a debater topic is to keep the school on or off. So everybody has a different view, like more like then people will ask, okay, I want a school to be open after like an age group of 6 or 7, or who like from the class 5 onwards, someone says class 7 onwards. But all those things, and someone needs to understand, and that's where I think this project debater is more complex. It is trying to understand what people are arguing about, and this is in development, and this is this is in the very good phase where we have showcased that project debater with other participant, and I think this video will give you more details about that, and I'll talk rest about the project debater after the video. That was very small video about project debater. And so, and you people might think like, and why project debater? Like, and what's the use of it? But we have used this we have created this technology, but can be used or getting used in completely different domain. So I have, like one of my colleague has worked on the project where they have used project debater, some component or some capabilities to actually provide an consulting on a mental health. Mental health is very a sensitive topic, or probably people are not very much open with the mentor or basically to the doctor or to the consultant. So they have created a small pilot which has used project debater, and then they will start to understand. And people started talking to that debater, and basically it's not a debater, it's the project is more like a sympathizer. So it will try to understand what people are saying and what's their orientation about their mental health, why they are getting that stress. Can I address that stress, and can I suggest them something, or can I only listen to that, keep in my database and just try to listen them? Because most of the time in this mental health, listening is very much important, and listening, remembering. So this project debater has been used in different, like people has think out of the box, and you use that project debater or this concept, natural language NLP concept, or this entire concept, bits and pieces, into completely different domain. Any question till this point?
Yes, yeah. If you have any query or questions, you can ask to sir.
Okay, I'll move to one of my patented idea, which we have again delivered for one of the leading bank. So that problem is like, I think many of you might be facing or have faced this many time, is like when you call a call center, you have to either like wait too long, you have to give too many inputs. Okay, select this category if you are going for credit card or debit card. For credit card, press 1. For debit card, press 2. For banking or for transaction related activity, press 1. All those things, all like you are giving multiple inputs, and at the end, if you miss some of the input or like misjudge any of the input, you may have to restart and you may have to go back. So that's one of the process where call center are getting lots of call, but most of the cases the caller or the receiver may not have the understanding of the context what they are talking about, and that's where we have like come up with the idea, and that idea got patented. And then we developed that solution. So it is trying to understand when someone has called, it is trying to understand or shortlist the area of problem and give more hint to an agent to understand what someone has talking about or why someone has called to this call center at this time. So, and probably you might be amused like, and why and how can it work? So I'll just try to explain it in small diagram. Probably it's not limited to this diagram. It's much beyond this diagram, but usually what this system does is like when someone has called, based on that calling number on initial input what it gets, it tries to load all the related information about that customer. So for example, he has called, and I'll take an example where probably you'll try to understand how it works. So let's say someone has used his old debit card, tried into an ATM machine and he forgot a password, or he has used the password of other card and it didn't work, and now it is saying blocked. And he just called the call center. So what happens in this scenario, it tries to get all this information. Okay, this particular customer has called, it has 3 cards. It has recently used this card and it has blocked that card, and the message that it is getting, or probably usually there are different status set on the banking side. Okay, invalid PIN, or it can be like a hazardous activity, or it can be like a stolen card. So what it will try to understand, get that information, get the current status, like that we call contextual or most recent or more relevant context. Also, it tries to understand all the different association of that user with the bank or with the service agency, and it will try to shortlist the causes. And when it will try to shortlist the causes, so if you see in the screen, so it will show so what the solution which we have delivered, that one of the part of the screen shows what are all the information, what very specific information about that user, and what's the recent cause. So probably we'll show here, okay, this user is has 3-4 cards, or recently he has used the ATM, XYZ ATM, and it will show one of the cases reset a PIN, or another is a fraud transaction or claim for fraud. So when this customer has called, usually the situation gets changed, and the agent from the call center start discussing about, okay, ma'am, he has to go with the authentication and verification, and then probably the customer representative will say, okay, are you calling about the card ending with XYZ? If yes, then okay, have you tried putting the PIN? Yes. And then probably, okay, do you want me to reset PIN? And the conversation actually starts from a different level. And we have seen because of this has reduced down the waiting list, has improved the customer engagement, and it has retained the customer. So we have seen lots of benefit of that system, which is still running system. At the end of this particular section, I want to discuss or show you. Similar to Alexa, there is one system which IBM Watson has worked on, or it has acquired another company, or it has powered another company to deliver the solution for kids. And the scenario is usually kids ask lots of questions, and this question lead to right answer, that's their growth. And this Cognitoy is a company who understood what it means. And just have a look at this video, and I'll probably...
If we were asking the dinosaur questions, what would we ask them? Hands up if you want to ask them. What would your question be?
My name is Amy.
What would you name a dinosaur?
Sparky.
Sparky? Your name is Sparky.
Could you spell space? You are cute. Let's play a game. Let's do it. What is 18 minus 13? My favorite color is red.
I'll try to remember. You are the best kid I have ever met.
Tell me a joke.
Alright, why wouldn't the ship share its treasure?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it was a little shellfish. No jokes, answer questions, play games, and also make and tell stories. What do you want to do?
Tell me a story.
30 years ago, there was an explorer named Alex who got lost with his pet.
Okay, that was one of the interesting, a toy for kids, and that will help to enhance their learning age or make their learning age more fun. So that I was involved in evaluating some part of it, of the technology, and that's one of the cool example of chatbot where you ask question and the system, where the cognitive system try to understand what you are saying and reply based on what you have asked, or engage you with the various aspect, like in telling a story, or basically like in calculating for you, or basically try if you call him in different name, he'll try to reply with more fun. So that's all about like an understanding that specific domain. Keep children is a specific domain. Envision how it will work, use like in machine learning, natural language processing into that, and providing an output which like an infuse or present, the presentation part which I was saying, like in present in a such a way that it will make more appealing or more involving. And end of the day, if you actually sell more toys, you get the business. And that's how like if you are able to correlate with the life of an AI expert or someone in AI ML domain. So that's one of the good example. So any question till this point, and then I'll be moving to the next slide. Okay, I'm moving to a world of AI and ML. So here, I think this slide I just created based on lots of question, messages, email, phones, and conversation I have with lots of people. So I think this will help many students because that's more targeted to a student. So I think the current target audience is more like people who are doing, or like I say students who are pursuing their bachelors and probably thinking what to do next. So this slide is basically like, what are the choices you have? And if you actually made that choice, what price you have to pay or what benefits you will get. So for example, and probably just make sure you remember this slide, because I will be connecting this slide in the subsequent demos or subsequent resources or paths which I'll be discussing. So for example, you are doing a bachelor's and you want to pursue your higher education. That will make you, okay, you might have to do a research. You want to stay in the same field. So you have lots of options, like you can do your master's from the same or very specific area like machine learning. And then from the machine learning, you can do more, like and go further and pursue your do your postdoctoral or PhD, and you focus on specific part of machine learning. So that's basically you'll be staying in the research and you'll be deep into a specific field. For doing higher education, you also have lots of options. Like you can do within India, you can do outside India. Some of my actually like mentees or some of my friends, they are doing in hybrid, like they do part of their PhD into India and part of their PhD in abroad. Like they want to get a different test. So that, or you can do like an MS from like in US or Canada, or if you want to do MBA, you can actually, so that's another thing, like, you want to do higher education, but you are more focused or you're more inclined to management studies. So probably you can do MBA like from India or for abroad, like so usually like in Europe is very good for these kind of like in management studies, like UK or France, people prefer, or like in some cases, Australia as well, or Canada. So that's where, like, if you want to have your degree in technical field, but you want to do a techno management sort of thing, then probably you'll have lots of options. So when you get the techno management, or basically like you also have the management part in your studies, your mostly roles is like in consulting, customer facing, or managing a team or managing a project. So that's become like you will be managing. So if you are AI engineer and you have pursued your MBA, so probably you'll be like an innovation project manager, or a manager in a lab, or in like an innovation lab or incubation labs. Okay, so that's one when we go into the higher education route. So if you want to actually join an organization, like after your bachelor's, joining your organization. So like there is no harm in joining, or like that's like not good. So many people ask me like, okay, is it good practice to do like start job immediately after my bachelor's and I'm not doing master's? So that's perfectly fine. So you can do a couple of years of your job experience, and then you can go for your master's or your further studies. So if you decided to join an organization, then also you have multiple choice, or probably when you get on campus, there will be like in big companies and small startup. So the people who are in AI and ML, my advice is to do not look for brand at the start. Look for what kind of work you might be getting. If a company is a startup, but the startup is working in AI ML domain, and you are very much interested in AI ML domain, so then give your 100% or try to choose that startup. Because if you choose the startup, you'll get lots of options, or you will be actually because there are less people, you will be playing lots of role. Like you will be deploying your solution, you'll be talking to your customer, and you will get early exposure. So people who are actually like may not be considering, because they don't know that brand, and they ask to their some of the like relative, okay, have you heard of this company? And they said no. And because of that, no, they have stopped thinking about that company and focusing more onto a big company. But what my advice is, keep your option open. Even if you get no from your your known people, you try to search yourself. You go to Google, you go to that site, what it does. Even in your interview, if they ask you what question you have, you should ask like, what kind of role I'm getting. I'm interested in machine learning, or I'm interested in natural language processing. I'm generally interested in AI. Is your company hiring for that particular role? So if you get into that conversation, probably like instead of stopping the door or shutting the door in initial reel. Just keep that conversation going and think of the startups which are relevant to your choices or which are relevant to your interest open. So if you go to a big company, there are like lots of advantages and there are some certain consideration that you need to be in mind. So one is like if you are go in like in one of the big brands, so immediately like you'll get a decent package and probably you'll get initial publicity like, okay, my son, my daughter got selected in this company. Oh, that company is really great. But at the same time, there is no guarantee because this company actually hired based on certain requirement, or sometimes they just hire and they keep you, they give you some certain type of training. But if certain situation has changed for their company, they can push you to some other field or the field which probably you may not like in initial phase. So if you are approaching to a big company or if you are joining a big company, keep your mind open, learn as many as things and try to be like flexible yourself so that when the company has offered you like you got hired for working on a specific project or specific stream, and at the end of your training you've been asked to work on a different field, but just be in the mind because you're part of large organization, this may happen and you will get plenty of experience from the chosen field. Like you may not have to be resistant in the initial stage, because in the earlier phase, I think your focus must be in the learning. Like you should learn whatever it comes on your way. So usually people who join organization and they have never thought of, or they haven't considered an option of research like in higher studies or management studies, they usually been working as like in technical leads or solution architects, or in some cases people who are still, I mean like in, so that's where the field like even if you are in technical, you can always get in consulting and customer facing and management roles, because that's what I'm saying, like in bigger organization they have lots of opportunities, and based on your skill or your relationship or how you have performed in your previous projects or all those things, you may get option of like in customer facing and consulting. So I started like just showing you this path. I started as a developer, then I've been into like in groups which are like an innovation group, incubation groups, and then I was technical most of the time. And then like in one of the case, like I started leading a team or started facing a customer, and then now my role is more like in consulting, customer facing. At the same time I'm doing an architecture like in solution architecture. So all those things is basically like in path. So you need to be actually learn as many as things while passing to that path. And my suggestion is enjoy that journey. Like you don't compare yourself with your peers, you enjoy your journey, and then probably you'll get succeed. So that's all about this slide, and I'll move to the next slide. So coming back to specific job roles which use like students or professional which might get into AI ML field is like an AI engineer or a data scientist. Sometimes if you have done your master's or PhD in machine learning, let's say you did your master in machine learning, you might be hired or recruited as machine learning engineer. If you did your PhD or your more inclination is on the research side, you'll be hired as machine learning researcher. In some of the cases, people who have more analytics knowledge, or there are like lots of analytic job who has to understand data, who has to understand visualization, who has to understand the backend technologies like machine learning, natural language processing, deep learning. Those people sometimes these people comes into a data mining and analysis field, or like in data analyst or data mining expert, or in some cases here, if the person is more focused on the business intelligence side, like in showcasing the results from the generated like in machine learning things, usually they get a business intelligence developer or those kind of roles. Okay, so coming back to one of the things which I was talking about, like let's say you are part of an organization. Usually, let's consider a big organization. You're part of a big organization, and I'm just showing you path how you will. This basically ladder, or this is a path which someone has to walk to get a certain level, and it's changed based on your engineer or scientist. So initially you will be hired as trainee engineer or junior scientist or entry level scientist. You will work for a couple of years to understand this technology, understand the business, understand the domain, and then you gradually move to an assistant engineer or assistant data scientist or assistant a data mining engineer, something like that. So that's assistant, and you work for a couple of years, in some cases 2 or 3 years, and you'll become associate, where you'll be actually leading a small group, or you'll be assisting your seniors or managers to develop a solution. Sometimes you at this stage you may get a chance to speak to direct to customer, or showcase what you have done. And then in many cases you become manager or a lead, where you're leading a certain group of people, and here your voice or whatever your ideas will have more weightage, will show by your examples. And someone who's having 6 to 7 or 8 years of experience, usually can lead, or even a 10, 12 years, there are a different kind of lead. Then after certain years, probably you'll become a principal scientist, or senior, or you can say slightly more position, where you'll be heading certain department, or you're leading certain practice. You have more leads under you. They will be actually, so for example, there is a machine learning group on banking. So where a different lead for different specific banks will be reporting to you, or they will be working with you, and you'll be managing that an entire I can say a thought chain related to that particular machine learning group or the data science group. One of the most you can go is CXO, chief digital officers, chief technology officer, or chief data officer in certain organization. It's that role is usually varied organization to organization, but that's where you will be 15-20 years of experience. In some cases people go before that as well. People have different, if they have good speed, they will reach the top in small amount of years. But that's how we call it an org chart or org progression. So how you progress into an organization. In smaller organization, probably there might be some of the roles which you might be playing after trainee engineer or entry level engineer, you might be playing an associate or lead, or so that path is sometimes shortened for a small organization. And for a very large organization, this path can be slightly bigger, or you'll be see there are much more level of hierarchy into the place. So that's all about an AI world, which probably a student at your age should know, and they will get benefit if they know right now how to plan your career, which path I should choose, what amount, if I choose this path, what I need to do. All those things will be coming into your calculation or your planning. So lots of time, many students ask me, or during this question answer session, they said, what are the useful skill or what skill that they need to take? So irrespective of which path you take, I try to shortlist in top 3-4 skills which you need to be prepare yourself, or you need to enhance those things to be in this field, irrespective of what role, what position, or what kind of job you are doing. So one is in problem solving ability. So you should understand problem. You should be able to solve that problem. Then so if you want to be in data science or machine learning on all those fields, probably you need to develop the skill or the quality which lets you to think outside the box. You should not constrain yourself to think on a smaller or immediate solution, like think for a long-term solution. If the solution is not available, can you create one? And that's where like innovation mindset is coming out. And college is the best place to start doing that, because you have nothing to lose at this stage. I mean, like, and there are lots of things to lose, but that's the very right age or creative age when we mentor. So we have seen this is very correct age to actually start those practice. There are lots of techniques to how to, like, there are systematic techniques how to think outside the box, or like there are lots of techniques or things that you can understand. We call that lateral thinking, and there are lots of session or SINA like you can undergo, like, and how to think like a lateral. So that's all those people who are interested in like an innovation, patenting, and all those things. They should actually develop this habit and try to think like what are the techniques, how can I improve that. And like there are separate sessions which usually I take, how to improve this particular aspect of a student. One of the other thing which usually like student at your age may ignore is communication skills. Here probably you choose your own friends, but in an organization you don't have that choice. Based on different scenarios and condition, you'll be selected and you will be assigned to specific team. At that time you need to adjust with that team. So that's where probably like because even I was like that when I was in my engineering. So you be in your comfort zone. You actually talk with the selected people or you hang out with your own group. So this age, probably I would suggest try to see like if you can work with completely different kind of mindset people, or because like I said, this is a correct age where you can change yourself without knowing much or without like impacting much to yourself. So you try to see like if you can team up with someone which like you hate initially, but you try to work with them. You can improve your communication skills, because that will help you long term. Like if you want to go long, you have to learn those skills. And last skill, which is like this is the most skill if someone or anyone want to come into a research field, stay up to date, or like in search, or basically your day-to-day job should be like, okay, if you're interested in machine learning or this cutting edge technology, you should be following certain people, you should be following certain sites, you should be following certain companies, you should be following certain like news articles, and you should read that on day-to-day basis. So you can't actually go like in the final year and say, okay, I want to be master into some certain field, and you like does like in 10 days of work like without sleeping, like we do our exams. So if this thing, when if you want to be in research, you need to develop that habit of following something and keeping yourself up to date. Okay, what's going on this field? Okay, this one has changed. Okay, this particular country has released a driverless car. What are the features? What these things mean? Okay, this one has used this technology. I don't know what is the meaning of that particular line. Copy that line or copy that particular thing, search in a Google and try to understand, oh, that was the previous technology, this one is new, like, okay. So that's how you have to keep updated. And if you are very keen to be in the research, start developing this habit. So I'll pause for a moment and check if you have any questions on till now. Happy to take any questions. Okay, looks like probably I'll get a question at the end. So this is there's an IBM University, or we call that like an IBM academic initiative or IBM initiative for students. So where you can register yourself with your institutional email address, you'll get a free credits. One of my interesting tool is like in Watson Studio, and I'll show you a demo how to use that quickly. You can connect to experts and you can attend an IBM event, or you'll get like a notification. So one of the previous point which I was saying, like you need to be staying in touch. So something like this, not only with IBM, some other companies, you can register yourself and get an updated news. So there is a branch of IBM research which works with the university, and that we call it like a skill academy. This is focusing on improving your skills. And this is one of the like a very interesting academic initiative that IBM has taken. So how you can use it or why you should use it. So you should use that for like what's a current industry trend? What are the skills in demand? What are the courses other people are taking? Can I enroll for this course? Lots of courses are free. Lots of like you enroll for the course, complete the course. It might take like a week. Some courses take a day. Some courses takes a month. You'll get a badge. Badge is basically like you can showcase on your social media saying or like sometimes in your WhatsApp status that okay, I got this badge, and that signifies okay, you have successfully completed this particular course. It's like I think more like an industry version of a certificate which people use like in small badges. So it's common everywhere nowadays. And with that, the most important thing is you will align with the industry. So the people who, like I said, the people who wanted to join a companies immediately after their bachelor's degree, they should align themselves with the industry. What industry is doing, what skill they are required. So how to do that? Like I'll share the links. You go to that link. You register yourself. Like I just tried to register myself with my Gmail address, and you get a notification, and you can go to your dashboard and access so many skills. You can go back to the academic initiative where you will get a different kind of courses. Like I search for a topic called artificial intelligence, and from that artificial intelligence, I selected, okay, I want to learn the machine learning essentials. I just click on that and it shows, okay, you want to learn more? Go to this course. At the end of this course, you'll get a badge. So this course may take like 6 days. So these are the badges. Again, like in a small screenshot from my page where I have received these badges after completing these courses. So someone like you who is, let's say, in the first year or second year or third year, if they start developing these badges, that will help you to get adopted in industry easily, because you might showcase that in your resume, you may highlight in your LinkedIn or social profile, and when you will be having an interview, people may ask you, okay, you did the particular sorry, my bad. Yeah, so you said you did a machine learning essentials from IBM Watson. Can you explain me this? Or can you say one of your badge, and they can actually start the conversation based on that. And because you have already did that course, you may have good understanding, and you can start from that point. And someone who is having these extra things apart from your degree and your like in college degree, if you have that, the hiring industry will, or the companies will know, okay, these people are already ready to get into an industry. So basically we call that as an industry ready. So that's for the people who usually want to immediately join the companies. This slide is more for people who want to do more like they have not decided, okay, they want to go to industry, but they are still considering the option of research, or like in pursuing their masters, or somewhere like in continuing or focusing more on the research. So for this, there are lots of research resources which IBM has provided. So when you registered with your institutional ID, you'll get your login name and password. You log into this ibm.com and these products, and you'll get lots of free trials. So you log into this with your login name, and you'll get lots of free trials to try out. These are the industry products or things which usually like in getting used to a industry. There are lots of other things. Probably you can select another topics or another type, like and you want to do and like a service or something, you will get shortlisted some of them. So for example, I just said, okay, one of my favorite tool, which is like free for a student, or this is one of the free tools which you can use. So you can try that on with no cost. And why should you try like in something like an IBM Watson Studio? Here is a demo.
Let AI take you to places you've only dreamed of. With Watson Studio, you can accelerate your journey to AI with the ability to explore and prepare data, develop and run models with Auto AI, SPSS Modeler, or notebooks, automatically, visually, or with open source. Get started on your desktop or any cloud. Work and discover as a team. And tap any data, geospatial, images, text, and devices. With Watson Studio's smart suggestions, you can reskill or upskill to simplify decisions from predictions and push models with Watson machine learning across any cloud. It's time to see where you can go with Watson Studio. With IBM, you get one data and AI platform for any cloud, lifecycle managed.
Okay, that was about Watson Studio. So that's one of my favorite tool where I'm like students like you can get your free account, you can start exploring that. So this studio is basically like your AI studio. So you can actually build model, like it says, like you can build model. There are lots of already like in people like us who has contributed their examples or their practices. So there is like a feature called one of the feature is gallery, and where you can find lots of example with data, with the practice or which algorithm has used, explained everything. So someone who want to quick start yourself and so have like done this in theory, now want to do hands-on, this is a tool. So the people who actually more interested in like in research kind of thing and want to keep themselves updated. So I also personally follow this MIT IBM engagement where lots of MIT professors and lots of customer of IBM and IBM researchers come up together and they form a group, which is MIT IBM engagement. I'll show you how that engagement works, but one of my customer is deeply involved in this association, and I have seen it from an end user perspective, how they get benefit, and from an IBMer perspective, how we can contribute and how we can learn. There's also interesting thing is this particular lab or this particular thing is also encouraging students to participate. Like in this library, this actually labs are taking students into their like an internship program or those things. But unfortunately, this is only available in US at this stage. But like if you are considering your future, like in your master's in like USA, this might be an option for you. And I'll just show you how that's like in a small video of how that engagement is working. So that was all about that engagement. And so IBM has started like an internship program, but again, like this internship program is also available only in US, and they're in some cases like I have seen people from India, like in Bangalore or Pune, has joined from some of the institutes in that, but mostly from USA. So yeah, there is an internship program, and there is like I'll share the links, and then you can actually start joining. What you can do is like there are lots of coding challenges that you will get to know, or there are lots of interesting tips like for your resume or for your interview that is usually shared via this channel, and probably that can help you to get into like an IBM or any other industry. So that's just like one of the things from what you can do with IBM. So that's all about like what there are lots of initiatives which are going from IBM University, and like you can participate in some of them. Some of them can give you like a free resources or news or keeping you up to date. So I would wish like most of you take the benefit of that and keep yourself up to date or get benefited with the initiatives that these like there might be similar initiatives from different company, but you try to get involved in some of them. So coming back to in resources which are outside IBM but still very useful, and that most of them are free for you, and how you can use those resources. So I'm sharing 2-3 resources depending on what kind of if you remember that same slide where what kind of track or path you choose. So the people who actually choose like a technical path and want to get hired, my suggestion is to go for these things. So that's called HackerRank. So this like a very interesting site, and probably people who are students or like in companies who are hiring a technical specialist. Most of the companies hire like something like this, where they will throw you a coding challenge. You need to write a code, and then you need to pass lots many inside those there is a problem like, okay, how you can do certain things, like they have been given certain scenario, and how you can do that using any of the language. Like you can pick Python, JavaScript, or any of the language. With this site, you can actually sharpen your specific skills. So for example, you want to get ready for AI and ML. So it will show you, okay, to get ready for AI and ML, you need to do Python, or if you have chosen the Python, these are the specific of Python. This is all those things. So you might end up in doing lots of course in that. And if you get some rank in HackerRank, then probably, and that's like invaluable. Some companies actually recognize that, okay, you have like an XYZ rank in the HackerRank, then they will treat you different from the people who don't have any rank. So that's one of the site which like commonly many of the people who want to go into technology field, they usually actually prefer the HackerRank. Or sites like an HackerRank where you can practice, you can actually code, and you can demonstrate your technical skill. So this one is again one of my favorite site, or you can say and concept, where Hugging Face is like that's more like an NLP machine learning model database. So you can pick any problem you want to solve. You'll get lots of models which are already there, and you can actually try to see how you can implement. So that's like in shortest path. If you are trying to solve certain problem and you want to do, let's say, summarization, or you want to do like an sentiment analysis, you go to something like a debugging phase. You download that specific you choose your language and you download a specific transformer or model from that site you use in your code. And then probably you can enhance that by retraining that model, and they have very detailed description or detailed APIs or coding guideline which you can use. Okay, this one is another interesting site or tool which many people, I get lots of requests that, okay, they want to find out a data set. They want to identify what's the problem that for their final year project, or they want a topic or seminar topic, or for that they need a legitimate or more industry data. So Kaggle is one of the good place which you can use. Go to Kaggle and you can click on the data set. You'll get lots of data set, and you can download that data set and use in one of your example. It also has the code around that data sets, and there are lots of competition. So that's the interesting part which I like about Kaggle is a competition. You can participate into certain competition, and based on that, you will learn a lot from live data or live competitions. So I'll just show you a small clip about this Kaggle, and probably that can help you to understand more about how the Kaggle works.
Stop staring at a blank cell. Kaggle makes it easy to start your next data science project with more than a blinking cursor. You can spin up a new cloud-based Jupyter notebook with one click and start building with our huge repository of code and data right away. On Kaggle, you can find and publish high-quality data sets, use Kaggle kernels to write code and build models with that data, and start working on the fun stuff faster. Stumped? Ask a question in the forums and even invite a collaborator to give you feedback directly. Seeking inspiration? Eager to sharpen your skills? Take one of our free data science or machine learning courses. Then enter a competition, many with cash prizes, to apply your knowledge to real-world machine learning problems. Ready to join the world's largest data science and machine learning community? Just click here to get started. Join Kaggle now.
That's one of my favorite tool when I want to see any database or data set, or in what's going on, what are the new challenges by different companies. And I start actually in monthly or bi-weekly, I just go to Kaggle and explore more. So before ending my session, I just want to show you something which is probably you might know, or if you don't know, probably you would like to know more about this, because this is the future. I will not talk more about that particular technology, but just it's a quantum computing, and probably consider that as if you don't know, consider that as a homework or your task to know more about that, and you will be one step good to your future. So that's all I just want to cover today, and feel free to contact me on an email or on LinkedIn request. So I'll stop sharing, and then if needed, I can reshare.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable guidance. There is one question in the chat box. How can we get any MNC's internships?
Okay. So, I mean, like, it's not that easy to get an internship because most of these MNCs, their internship is like mostly in not available in India, but and not in, I mean, like in the bachelors, but people who are doing their masters, they get more chances, or they will have more chances to get an internship. But there are like in IBM also, I haven't seen much cases where they there are, I have seen some cases, but not much cases where they hire like and they give internship to large amount of people. So it's more like if you are selected, or if you are part of one of the like an competition that they have held, and you got connected with some of the team and they are actually want to solve that problem, then they can convert you as an intern. But not much, I haven't seen not much in internship, but yes, some cases it's possible, like in even nowadays a mid-size or mid-scale company started giving an internship.
Okay, thank you, sir, for solving the query. Any other questions? Sir, there is one question. How can we be a data scientist? What are all skills are needed?
Okay, so if you like, I can share the slide, but probably becoming a data scientist, which means you have to choose that research path. So probably like after your bachelor's, you need to go for your master's. That's like one of the first step you need to take, and then depending on what kind of like in research area or which, so there are like I haven't seen much chances where people has did their bachelor's and they got into a data scientist. But yes, people who started after their bachelor's also, and if they got an option to work in companies who are more focused on research, that but yeah, definitely there is a best way is to continue your education, do your masters. If you do your, I'm like in like doctorate, then yeah, that's the chance. But even after your masters, and if you go pick a specific company, or nowadays most of this company are taking the people who with the master's degree into this field, like an ML data science, and then there are like an easy ways to that you'll become a data scientist. Talking about the skills, so I have shown a couple of slides like how a day-to-day life of an data scientist or a expert in this field is like. There are 6 top things which any of expert in this field has to actually follow, or has to have those skills. Apart from that, there were 4 skills which I have shown that can also help in the initial level, because going into a research is basically developing that mentality at early age. So if you have developed that mentality from your college days, there are lots of chances, or there are more chances that you'll get uh, like you are already on the good path. Sorry.
Any other questions, students?
So I think there was a question, or basically I think it was just asked like, this session is only for AI student, not for IT or CS. It's just a question, or it's like I just so
I think, sir, it's not the question.
okay.
Sir, hello.
Yes, Sumit Pawar, you can ask the question.
सर बिजनेस डालना हो तो मतलब क्या प्लान करेंगे?
Sorry, I didn't got your complete question.
सर अगर बिजनेस डालना हो तो मतलब प्लान क्या करेंगे? मतलब ज्यादा भांडवल लगता है क्या कुछ?
Okay, so I'm trying to understand your question. Like you want to start a business, and then you are trying to see like how much money or basically how much investment you should have. So like in one line answer is to start a business probably before any investment or anything, you must have a problem in hand that you want to solve. So, or you should have that, okay, which area you are targeting your business. Then you should work for your solution. So the money and other things, nowadays it's not that difficult because I am part of one of the like an venture capitalist firm or people who are actually funding. There are lots of options for like in crowdfunding as well. If you have a brilliant idea, if your product you did your product or your POC is ready, or you can actually demonstrate your POC, you put on social media, or there are like lots of crowdfunding platforms where you just push, okay, this is my idea, and I want an crowdfunding, or you just say like, okay, this product will be sold like 100 rupees or 500 rupees in initial reel for first 1,000 customer or first 200 customer, and people will buy that product looking at your demo or looking at what you have presented, and then you will create that investment or utilize that investment to launch your product. But I think instead of worrying more about like the investment and all other things, first you should focus on identifying a correct problem, and you should also have skill and energy to solve that problem. So if that's matched, then probably rest of the things is can be easily managed.
Sir, Snehal has rewritten that it's a question. I am confused. Please, can you tell me? This session is only for AI students, sir, not for IT or CS.
Okay, so if it is like if it is it's general guideline and Snehal. So for example, so most of these things are applicable to IT, computer science, and AI student as well. So if you have not, like, I'm not aware that you are a CS or IT or AI, but irrespective of that field, you have equal amount of opportunity to be in data science or AI field. Because when I started, there was no concept of AI. Like AI was not taught in universities. So don't actually feel like this session or this field is not for computer science or IT. You have equal amount of chances to be in AI or ML field. And believe me, like in computer science is core. You are learning and core part if you are part of the computer science, and eventually when you passed your bachelors, you will learn on the go, or after that you will learn AI techniques or machine learning or data science, and you will be considered as like a data scientist. So apart from that, this session is for everyone who want to be into an AI. Does that make sense?
One more question, sir.
Yes.
For beginner, which programming language should learn? C or C++ or Python?
Okay, so again, and beginner, if that beginner wants to pursue his career in AI ML, I would prefer Python because it's easy to learn and it's commonly getting used in industry for AI ML domain. So that doesn't mean like you should not learn C++, but if you're asking me like, okay, priority wise, you should start thinking of Python.
Thank you, sir. Students, if you are having any questions, you can ask directly to sir, or you can write in a chat box.
So there is like an So there is a dark at my place, so it's like already like in sort of late evening. So that's why there was like a low light. So sorry for that.
We understand that it's
Thank you, sir.
late evening. Yeah. Snehal, in continuation with the answer given by Mr. Anil Omanwar about whether it is for the AI, CS or IT, I must tell you all students that even if you are for computer, IT, electronics or even electrical, all these technological application-based courses are directly related to the AI. You cannot think that there are electrical vehicles without AI. You cannot think that Industry Revolution 4 is there without AI, without IoT, without computer, without IT. Only thing is that we have to think over these kind of courses as a basic for our career. Because if I still remember very well that when Mr. Omanwar was a student, that time artificial intelligence, these two words were not available in the entire syllabus of computer science and engineering.
Yes, correct, sir.
This is what, and as he has rightly pointed out, that we should be regularly updated with our technologies. If we want to be in the computer or IT field or in the line field, we should be regularly updating ourselves. Just now, sir has informed about the quantum computing. We at our MIT Institute of Engineering Computer Department, in the last month only, on the 3rd of January, we have conducted a 1-week faculty development program on quantum computing. So we always try to be updated with the technology. We always try to give some training to our faculties so that that can be passed on to the students eventually, and students can get the benefit out of that. So like this, in the upcoming time also, I will be trying to arrange many more such sessions for all the students of computer, IT, computer science and design, BTech program, electrical, even electronics, who are in the applied technology domain, so that you can get the benefit and you can think of your career in such varied technological developments. Career is very open for all of you now. It is not that even suppose you are the AI students or the computer or IT or computer science and design student. So even computer science and design students can make their career with the AI-based designs. So there is nothing like. Only thing is that what is your interest and how you can get yourself developed in that particular domain. So as this is your starting of the career, be patient. We are there to take you on the right path and get your career developed as per the culture, as per the efforts of our MIT Institute of Engineering, Computer Engineering Department and IT Department.
Yep, that's very much what probably sir has described correctly. Like, you should not stop yourself thinking. Probably you should invest more into yourself by developing those things. So there was one more question.
Yes, sir. What is computer vision in AI?
Okay, so Chetan, probably like so it's one more branch of like in data science I can call. It's more looking towards what is seen, or if I can continue one of my examples where like in driverless car. So what information that they are getting from different camera, how to process that, what to infer from that, and how to utilize that for the driving or for the betterment of the solution. It's all comes into computer vision. I can give you another example of computer vision where you get lots of X-ray report and lots of scientists based on that X-ray report trying to predict that you have a COVID symptom or not. So that's again like one kind of application which is utilizing a computer's vision power and providing a solution. So basically you have images, videos, and so many things which a sensor can send, which can visually analyze. and that can be understood or that can be analyzed, and it can be inferred from that particular thing. And that's whole science, which is dealing with images, videos. It's coming into that computer vision branch.
Which field is more demanding in future AI or software? Question by Chirag.
Okay, Chirag. So again, probably I think the question is, see, you can build a software with AI or without AI. So basically, if you are developing a software, AI software, which you already developed a software. So and like Sir has said sometime back, it's not like a silo thing. In real world, it's a hybrid environment. So someone like a driverless example of driverless car, there is a mechanical, there is electrical, there is AI, there is a vision. Everything is involved in a single field. So, okay, so if you want to choose, so if you don't want to be like if I could understand your problem, like you should focus on programming language and not bothering about AI, that will be more demanding, or focusing on AI will be demanding. So probably I think, so one is like you should, your basic concept about software engineering or software, that needs to be there even if you want to do your career in AI, because you cannot develop an AI solution without knowing or having knowledge of a software. But yes, the one line answer is software engineering, which is more focused in AI, has more value than like a normal, like just without AI thing.
Yes, very true.
Siddharth More has asked the question, sir, if you are asked to choose one in AI, CS, IT, what will you choose?
Okay, so again, what is the purpose? Like if I want to pursue my career, and again, it's more on an interest. So if, say, for example, like if I see something and I feel like, okay, it needs to improve automatically, or if it needs to improve based on the suggestion or like a more intellectually, that time I'll prefer an AI. Computer science is always a base. Like you should, like even most of these AI curriculum courses, they have 60 to 70% concepts which are core computer science concept. And believe me, even if I am working in AI, ML, machine learning, I still use lots of computer science fundamentals which I learned in my bachelor's degree. So I would say always, like if you are targeting high, focus on your fundamentals. But if you ask me like in my personal choice or what I would choose, I would always go for AI.
Sir, Gaurav has asked the question, sir, yes, when we should start studying for certified courses of websites like Udemy, Coursera, edX, etc.
Okay, so my answer is you can start from right now. But the only thing you should be aware that it should align what you are learning or what your focus are. Like Udemy has like in courses for singing, dancing, even Coursera has like in machine learning and all other things. So you can start any course from right now as well, but it should align with what your interest and what your career path you will be choosing. So for example, if you are studying something and you are taking too much effort to try to understand from a book, you can see like there is Udemy or any free course available. You learn those concepts from those courses, nothing harm in it. And the only best thing is you are learning and you are improving yourself by any means. And that's what even like in your teacher, your mentor, your parents, and you also want to improve yourself into that specific field. So another thing which I think, because he has used the certified courses, so usually those certified courses takes long. So you should start early, and then basically you take, and like it sometimes it says it needs 6 months, but because you are also studying, it might take you to 1 year. In some cases, if you are going for interview and all those things, some cases, some of the courses are just valid for 1 year or 2 year. So if I can understand, or if you are like want to pick up, like you want to get that good timing. So let's say if you are appearing for interview in 6 month time, then probably you should start this course at like 1.5 year ago, because these courses also have certain validity. And if you're choosing certain course which is depending on certain like in certain version of something, or like if so for example, if you are appearing in final year, then certified courses is good to take in the 3rd year, so that you will have that validity, and that's more recent to the industry trends.
And in due course of time, we will take care at the department for such kind of courses. We'll announce such kind of courses, certifications with the different technologies, with the different upcoming industry requirements, and we give this platform to the students to participate in such courses, to attend those courses and complete the certification. So in a stepwise manner, we have already done the planning on this, and it will be exposed to you. Apart from that, if you are more interested in any specific kind of career development, you can get to us. We are there to guide you. We are there to take you to that particular platform. No issues about this.
We will take this last question, sir.
Okay.
What is path to become data scientist after bachelor's?
Okay.
Question by Kunal.
Okay, Kunal, so I think I partly answered that question in one of the answers, but I'll try to see if I can customize that answer for you. So one is again, a data scientist is like a very broad term. So so if you want to become a data scientist, so one is probably after bachelor's, if you're not, so the best way is to pursue your master's and your doctorate, so that you'll get a good position and you'll call yourself as a data scientist. If not, then if you join any organization after your bachelor's and didn't pursue any of these things, then there is one of my slide which has a chart, you'll be joining. So let's say unfortunately you join in a group which is more focused in data scientist or AI machine learning, you'll be joining as a junior data scientist. You learn all those things, or you are enhancing all those things. Then probably you'll after 2-3 years you will become an associate scientist, or basically they call it as a staff member. And once that, probably you spend 4 or 5 years where you can independently build solution, or you can think of solution for the problem. If the solution is not exist, then probably at that stage, in 7, 8 years, you will be classified, or you can confidently call yourself in as a data scientist. So one is an educational track where you pursue via study. Another is where you actually invest your time into project, or you get a project which are relevant to data science field, and you be consistent into those fields or into those projects, and showcase your ability to become a scientist, or to actually, instead of developer, you should actually, if you showcase your scientific or research angle more into those projects, probably you'll be treated as a scientist or in that path, and you will become a data scientist.
And to get all these things done, you have to be very serious about the mathematics that you are studying. Maybe with M1, M2, M3, discrete mathematics, some data structures, or some signal processing algorithms, or specifically the algorithms related subjects. You have to be very much serious. You have to be very much concerned about all these mathematics based subjects. Then you will find there is the sky limit for you to develop yourself with the career aspects.
Thank you, sir, for solving the doubts of our students. Now I would like to call our HOD sir, Dr. M.U. Kharat sir, to propose vote of thanks.
Okay. So this is the concluding part, part of the session for today's interactive session by Mr. Anil Omanwar. For all the students, he is explaining each and everything for all of us from the Perth, Australia. And as per the introduction, you might have learned many things about him, about his career development, and about his path that he has reached today. I am very much thankful to Mr. Anil Omanwar, his time sparing with my students as well as with the faculty members. Instead of his busy schedule, he has given us the time. I was very much connected with him, and during his connection with him, I found that he was very much interested in developing the student's career on this particular line of computer science and AI, particularly ML. We are definitely eager to learn many more things from him in the coming future. And I have already urged him that in what way, in what collaboration we can strengthen this bonding of our MET's computer, IT, AI, CSD students with him, with his company, with the IBM University program, for which I have already registered, and very soon we'll start getting the benefit of it. Those IBM-based machine learning, AI and machine learning aspects with the data science and many more aspects of the technological developments. I hope that we all will get benefits from those type of programs in near future. I am thankful to the all organizing team of our computer IT department. Special thanks to Dr. Shefali Bhujbal ma'am, who has taken time and initiated our session on this particular time. I wanted madam to be interacted with Mr. Anil Omanwar. She has justified her role and advised us, motivated us towards certain technological development through the academics. I am thankful to Professor Gumaste, head of the department IT, team from Institute of Technology Polytechnic, team from Institute of Engineering, and all the stakeholders who have taken efforts for successful organization of this particular program.